How did you guys sleep last night?
Katie, would you like to kick it off?
How did I sleep? On my side when I had the chance to. No, I did not sleep much at all. That's definitely part of the whole postpartum thing from the start for me. And I think it plays into a lot. But I do want to start out by giving kind of I don't know, what a label, a warning before. So most of my postpartum I've kept to myself other than to you guys and to my husband. So this is going to be a very raw episode of emotions that I've been feeling, but I think it's important to share because I know there are other moms feeling the same thing that don't have this community. So that's my little thing for anybody who knows me and who is going to be listening to what I'm saying. So
Fair. Yeah, I feel like if I didn't have this group of you moms going through the same exact thing with me, I would probably just not talk about it because it probably wouldn't feel as normal as it does.
Yeah.
Just hearing it, you all go through it the same way. So yeah, it's definitely, you're not alone out there if you're having similar thoughts and feelings.
yeah, where should we even begin? I think I love what Izzy said. Izzy, what's your thing that you say about postpartum not being just the beginning?
Yeah, it's definitely not the first 6 to 8 weeks. I think we're in like a different stage of postpartum right now because we're all back at work. Our babies are 4 months old. They're teething.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're dealing with sicknesses and calling off of work, and it's kind of like you're supposed to be into this routine by now is what they make you feel like, and we're not. Or like when you think
Sleep
you have,
training. What?
yeah, you think you're gonna have something down and everything changes, and it's almost like harder in a way because you're supposed to go back to your regular life and you're supposed to do it all with a baby and have it all down, and you know we don't have it down. We are all struggling every single day with.
And I think that's a good place to probably start. Let's just start with sleep because I feel like in today's social media and in all these things, I mean, I paid for the class of taking care of babies and was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And, you know, my baby's going to sleep in his crib from day one. And this is going to be easy. And it is not. And I think social media makes you feel like your baby should be sleeping through the night by a certain point, and that's just not reality.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, Courtney, I know you've struggled with that too. Like, what are some of your experiences with, you know, that lack of sleep or in the middle of the night? Like, what goes on for you?
Yeah, well, for me, it started day one because if you remember from my birth story, my labor started on 1 hour of sleep. So I feel like from that point, I still just have not caught up on that night. So it definitely will catch up to you. I feel like the first, I don't know, while I was on maternity leave, I guess, so the first 8 weeks or so, I feel like you are in this haze where it hasn't really hit you yet, your sleep, right? I remember people telling me, and we all hear this, and Izzy shared a Facebook post that cracks me up. I think it was Izzy.
What?
Sleep when the baby sleeps is the most bullshit thing ever.
Yeah.
Because for one, who can just like fall asleep other
Men.
than our
Men.
other than
Men.
our, you're
Yep.
right, you're
Fathers.
right. What women or woman or mom can fall asleep at the drop of a hat? None of us. Our brains are constantly going. And not to mention in those first few weeks, you're trying to figure out breastfeeding still. I remember I was trying to introduce pumping because I wanted to bring my supply up. You didn't have time. There was no time to sleep during the day, and you definitely weren't sleeping at night. So I think in those early couple months, I didn't feel tired yet. I don't know if you guys can relate.
Yeah. You still have all that adrenaline.
Yes.
And you're just like excited. Mm-hmm. You have your new baby.
People are coming to visit.
You just love your baby and you're soaking it all in, and
like, this is the greatest thing ever. I don't even care.
You're
if
just
I'm not
smelling
sleeping.
your baby. Yeah. You're like, I can do this.
Yeah. And then
and mine was... Well,
no, go ahead. Nope.
I was going to say for me, I expected not to sleep, but
Yes.
I had experienced a lot of what I now know is postpartum rage in the middle of the night. And I'm going to try to not get emotional because you feel shame about it. but I would feel like anger, like, can't you just sleep? And I would get that way sometimes, or I'd have to set him down and walk away. And I found that probably one of the main causes of that was early on, I was trying to do everything myself. Like, I'm discovering me, figuring out this new role, and then not, you know, waking my husband up and saying, hey, you need to do this. And since I was exclusively breastfeeding at the start, you know, it's kind of all on you.
Right. Well, you had to wake up in the middle of the night anyways.
But at the same time, it's not all on you. And you can still set expectations for your spouse, you know, early on and say, no, I still want you to get up and check on me and get me a water and just, you know, check my headspace and make sure I'm okay. So that's something I really think I wish I would have done that earlier on.
Well, the other part of that, too, with Katie and I, at least, is our spouses didn't get really much of a paternity leave. They went back to work very early on, and I think, honestly, that played a big role in our built-up resentment.
Huge.
And the rage, because, you know, not that work is
an excuse.
An excuse or like a break.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But it is. It's in a different way. It is.
Right.
Yeah. The headspace of being in the house all day, even though you love this little human being with all of your might, being stuck in the house all day is a mental game in itself. So then when you're not sleeping at night and you're waking up, you feel like it's Groundhog Day, like doing it again. Same thing over and over again.
You literally lose. You're like, what day of the week even is it? I have no idea.
I know. Seriously. And then you have people messaging you wanting to come see the baby and hang out, and you're just not even, or for me, you know, I just wasn't even feeling like myself, and I'm like still struggling to find that identity of who I am again. And you're like, I don't want you to come over. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't.
I just want to be. I remember I got to a point where I just wanted to be alone with Cash. You know, like, because everybody wanted to come see him, and I wanted everybody to meet him, don't get me wrong. I was excited for that, but I think there was a period of time where I had visitors for so long, and then I think for a week I didn't have anybody come over because I wanted to have that one-on-one time with my baby without it being interrupted. But then at the same time, it kind of made it more difficult because then you're by yourself with your baby the whole time. So it's like a twofold thing. I don't know.
And I know, Izzy, you've had like 2 totally different postpartum experiences.
Yes.
And I know your first one was not, you know, as peachy. Not that this one's been peachy, but you felt more confident after Cora.
This postpartum is 1,000 times more peachy than it was with Basil.
Peachy.
Because...
And that's so reassuring for me, because I will not lie, I'm still in that moment of like, I don't think I can do this again.
Yeah.
So it's reassuring to know that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I kind of took it with my pregnancy too. Like, I didn't have any like actual like high risk problems with Basil, but I was just in so much pain all the time that I just didn't think it was worth it. I was like, this is not worth, you know, she hasn't even come out of me yet. And it's just constant, you know, kicking in the ribs and nausea. I just didn't think it was worth it. And like, you know, now Basil's almost 5 years old. I'm like, this is definitely worth it. You know, she's the coolest kid ever. But that's how it was for the whole first year with Basil. I had no help. You know, my breastfeeding journey, I didn't really know anything at all. And the doctors told me I needed to be pumping after every time she ate. And she's eating every 2 hours. So I had to choose in my head to either sleep or to breastfeed. And I was like, I need to sleep. Like, I was actually losing it. And this was like only within like the first 3 weeks. Like, I chose that I only breastfed Basil for like a week or 2 because I was like, I'm not going to try this. And then, you know, my milk probably wasn't even in yet.
But you probably didn't know.
No.
In your mind, you're probably like, well, I don't have any supply for my baby.
No. Yeah.
Because if you didn't have anybody else to ask.
No.
To let you know that, hey, they only drink.
I had no support, I felt like. And, you know, her dad never... I swear there was, like, no interaction with him and the baby for, like, the first month. Like, he was too scared to even hold her.
Wow.
Because she was so small. But there was, like, no help. And I basically was just in her room because I had a bed in her, like, little nursery. I felt like I was in there for, like, the first 2 or 3 months of her life. You know, I felt like just in this room, just trying to make it day by day, surviving.
Trapped.
Yeah. And it was the middle of winter. You know, it was like January, February. It was freezing cold outside.
Seasonal depression.
Yeah. It was definitely like a super dark time. I think I got prescribed my Zoloft by week 5 weeks postpartum with Basil, because we tried to go to therapy, couples therapy, and that didn't work out. But I've been on Zoloft ever since Basil, and it's one of the best things for me. I actually upped it with Cora, not so much for depression, but for anxiety. I would just the feelings would just be so overwhelming, especially with Basil, like having 2 kids. I would just mentally be going through a lot. Like, I can't be at all places at one time. And I would just break down and cry. And I'm like, I just know that there's a way, like, I shouldn't have to feel like this. And I talked to my doctor about it. They upped my meds, and it's a world of difference. Like, a world. I even told you guys, like, I skipped 2 days taking him whenever we had to go to the hospital last time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do this. You know, I don't need him. I'm fine. I'm doing great. 2 days. And the second day, I was crying all day that day.
And you're probably wondering, like, why am I crying so much?
Like, over nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't know
like,
if it's because, like, my brain, like, is adjusting. Because I don't really cry on Zoloft. Not that that's not good or bad, but, like, I think I can just, like, regulate my emotions better. And I don't cry over little things, or I kind of just rationalize. But whenever it stops in my brain, it's just, like, everything comes back to me. So, I don't know. I can't go without it. It's my favorite thing. Katie, we all know that you love your meds too.
Yeah, and it's funny because I talked about this with another mom in our group, but I've, been battling depression for a pretty long time. And, God, why am I so, look at me.
No.
I'm emotional now. This is just me.
Even before
before pregnancy, I had panic disorder when I was in college. So I have been on Zoloft and Lexapro and Cymbalta and all of these different things. And all of them it would take like the edge off, but there were side effects that, it didn't make it worth it to me. So I am on a different like form of medication now, but I'm still considering trying those again, because I think what I haven't realized is this is so different than just normal depression. Like, it's not the same thing in any way, shape, or form. And the waves that you have of like, one day you're like, this is the best, I'm a good mom, like, I got this, I'm so great. And then it's the middle of the night and you're like, I can't do this. I don't even know why I thought I could be a mom. I'm regretting doing this. And
I feel like it shouldn't even be called depression. I don't know.
Right.
Like, it's because when I was having my probably lowest point with my postpartum, and I was Googling it, 'cause I'm like, what is postpartum depression? What are the real symptoms? And a lot of it was like, you don't want to be with your baby, you're just laying in bed, and I'm like, that's not me right now. I want to be with my baby, but I also don't want to be with my baby. I don't know. It's just,
You want help.
Yeah. But I don't know.
There's so much more that goes into it than feeling sad.
Right.
And that's not what it is. It's not just feeling sad all the time. It's, and there is shame in it. You go to the doctors and they give you that checklist of like all the things with postpartum, and you almost feel like you don't want to be honest. Like, I don't want to put honestly how I'm feeling.
You're filling it out at your the pediatrician.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I feel kind of weird.
Can you see the happy things in life?
Right.
Most of the time.
And then the one day I was honest. And
as much as I always did.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I filled it out honestly, and like all they did was like, oh well, you can talk to a therapist or get on medicine, and it was like,
yeah, I know.
Yep. Like, why did I just waste my time filling that out?
Really? That's crazy you said that,
Like,
because Sam, when I was having that low point, Sam had reached out to me because she had just taken Mac to the doctors, and she was like, hey, they had me fill out this paper, and I thought of you. And part of me was almost thinking, I don't really want to tell, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable telling them. And now you saying that, Katie, I'm like, I'm glad I did, because
I feel like all they would do is tell you, be like, well, you can see a therapist if you're feeling sad. Like, I know.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Right, when?
Yeah.
When?
Can you babysit?
And that's the battle. Yeah, that's the battle I'm going through. My friend sent me, her postpartum therapist that she saw. And, I want to go so bad, but being a working mom is hard. And taking time to take him to all his appointments, especially mine, because he has so many specialist appointments and things. Like, I don't have leave to take care of myself, and that's a problem. Like, that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be making money or taking care of your mental health, and it is sometimes. So,
and then I feel like it's the same battle with daycare and them getting sick. You have to work to make your money to do these things. You take your baby to daycare, they get sick, they can't go to daycare.
Yeah. He just dealt with that. He had a fever, right?
Yeah, he randomly got a fever again, so back again. I had to go pick him up from daycare, and then the next day he can't go back till he's 24 hours fever free. Yep. And I was like, I just took 3 days off this month from being sick and stuff, and I was
and you're still paying for daycare.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So and then what? Do I have to find somebody else to pay them for the day? It's. Do I sacrifice getting more behind at work? It's just, and thank God I work for a company that is so supportive. They would never even question if I had to call off for that. But that doesn't help my mental state when I go back to work and I'm so swamped, stressed at work, to then have to switch my mental state when I'm with Kat. You know what I mean? It's just not helping all of it.
But yeah, it's so hard.
The working mom thing
and I know
is
it's
intense.
rough. That's a whole nother episode. Staying at home is hard too.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, because I always thought my dream, before having a baby, I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That was just like in my head, the greatest thing ever. You just
the goal.
Spend time. Yeah, the goal. Yes. And those first 2 months when I was with Cash every single day, loved it. I love him. We can all put that out there. We love our babies.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could do it.
No, it's hard. It's worse. You guys will hype me up for looking all good in the morning, and I feel lucky that I have to drive Basil to school because it forces me to get out of bed.
True.
And then I'm up for the day, because I can't tell you how many times, especially the days that I don't work, I'll get up and take Basil to school, and I'm like, I can't wait to come home and go right back to bed. Do I ever? Almost never. I'm up for the day. I'm doing stuff I feel like I have a purpose, getting out of bed, get the baby dressed, taking her to school. I put on a little makeup, get my Starbucks. You guys were all talking about Dunkin' and Starbucks the other day. I'm I have to pass 2 Dunkins and 2 Starbucks on the way to drop.
How do you say no?
I don't. That's the problem.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've never said no to the coffee. I will convince myself every day, you got up and you got your kids ready. You deserve that $9 coffee.
Go, mama.
Right, it's who cares if it adds up to, $200 a month? It's fine, because we deserve it.
Yes.
That's what I do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think another feeling that I want to validate in other people, because this one still eats me alive because I'm still going through it. Another episode, I keep talking about episodes that will come, is about Dale's belly issues and the kind of effect that has on our life, where we can't go do things, or we can't, everything has an added layer for me. I can't just go to the grocery store because he gets sick, and then it's overwhelming and it's just a lot. And in those moments, a lot of the times I get these feelings of, why does this have to be me? Why does my baby have to be this way? And it's just like Courtney says, I love him. I would do anything for him. And it's okay. Not okay.
And you
to have
are
this,
doing anything
normal.
For him. You have changed.
Yes.
You try to change your diet. You have taken him to every single doctor. So shout out to you.
I don't think a lot of
doing
people know what Katie has been through with Dale, because I'll even try to explain it to my friends or my mom. I don't think you understand the amount of an overproducer she already was. That was an issue from the get. Clogged duct on day 2. And then you're producing all this milk and he can't even drink it, and it's you're pumping it and you're just trying to get some relief, and you have this whole freezer couch, which is glamorized. Everybody wants it, but it's now look at this side of it. Dale, it's just making him sick. Katie has to change her entire life, her entire diet, almost probably every food that she knows just to feed her own baby, and it's not helping. And then, you know, you dealt with the struggling, should I quit or not? Should I do this? Should I do that? Which, like, you know, we're so happy that you did because that was one more thing off your plate. And it's still the constant throwing up. Like, I can't explain to people, like, how much Dale throws up. And we don't even know. Like, we're not even with you. But, like, I don't think, like, you're...
Even we understand
We don't even understand, like, how hard... Because, like I said, I can keep Cora in the same outfit all day. Even Courtney just... You said it earlier. I didn't say anything, but, like... You said how you're going to the mall and you had him in his PJs. You're like, what am I going to do? Change him 3 times?
No, Craig said that. Craig.
And in my head, I'm like...
Katie, Santa Claus was at the mall and there was no line. And I was like, I should have put his Christmas PJs on. We missed an opportunity. I'm like, Craig, should we just go buy some and put them on? And
of course he said no.
And he said, not today. I don't feel like changing him.
But see,
yeah,
like,
I didn't even think. Yeah.
Imagine, like, Katie.
That would have been a normal thing. Katie would have been like, whatever.
And imagine her being in the line for, like, 30 minutes. She probably would need, like, 3 Christmas outfits ready. just in case.
Yeah, it's that validation. I appreciate it. I don't think anybody knows it until they experience it. It's so funny. And I know my friend Cindy's a listener. So hi, Cindy. She taught infants and toddlers. She's retired. She taught for some, and she's been teaching for 30 years and worked with babies a ton. So I had her watch him when his daycare was closed one day. And I sent him with all kind of extra clothes, and she kind of like chuckled at me in the morning almost. And I'm like, just trust me. And when I got there at the end of the day, she actually was washing his clothes, and the look on her face was just like, I'm sorry. And it was in that moment, like, I just like started crying because she was validating everything I already knew of, like, Katie, I had no idea that it was this bad. Like, everybody just would say, are you burping him? Are you doing that? And it's like, you're not understanding the severity of this.
No, I don't like, think people do.
Even the doctors you were going to, they had you sleeping with him sitting up. They had you doing all kinds of
I still laugh about that. That was the funniest message. Response,
yeah, she said just to sit up with him for 2 hours after he eats. And I said, he eats every 2 hours. And she said, yeah. I was like,
just keep him in the baby carrier 24/7.
But also holding him up doesn't do anything. Right. So, like, that doesn't stop him. So, yeah, I think that plays into a lot of my mental health. And I'm getting to a point where I'm better and I'm accepting it. But, yeah, and I mean, I'm at work all day and I get messages from daycare. He just threw up his whole bottle. You know,
why did they even bother telling you?
Because I'm trying to document it for the GI.
Okay.
Yeah, so I tell them, like, if it's a bad day, let me know, because some days are worse than others. And when you have daycare providers who've been doing it for 15 years with infants, and they're saying it's a lot, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I spoke with this really resonated with me. My friend reached out to me and went through the very same thing pretty much. And she was validating everything I was feeling. And she said this to me. She said, when you become a mom, everybody says balance is important. And she's like, there is no such thing as balance, like in these first few months. She said a scale, you know, tips both ways. Sometimes you being a mom is top priority. Like that's going to be outweighing everything else, and work's going to fall behind and your house is going to be dirty, and that's okay. And she said that about me, you know, having a sick baby. She's like, if you can't go to work because you have to take him to a specialist, that's what it is. And work will get over it, and it's okay. And I think it's the same for all of us. Like, our house is going to be dirty, and that's hard to let go of when you're a neat person.
Yes.
But
yes.
You're going to sleep, or you're going to have a perfectly clean house all the time. So make your choice, kind of. Yeah, and that feeling of just, I don't want to say regret, because I don't regret it, but there are moments of sleep deprivation, or in the grocery store when he's vomiting onto the floor and I'm like overwhelmed. Like, those moments I'm like, why does this have to be my life? And not that those thoughts are normal, but it's okay to have them as long as you're addressing the thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's not
listening to what you're thinking.
Correct. And it's not turning into any sort of harm.
Yeah, right.
It needs to be fixed. I'm still on this journey too, to try to figure out what's best for me, because again, it's a roller coaster. So I was at my low and I'm like, yeah, I need help, and then it passed, and now I'm like, everything's good, I'm fine.
Everything's good until it's not, and then you'll be in the same spot.
I think a lot of it should be more proactive, honestly, than reactive.
Yeah.
I think, because if it was talked about a little bit more pre-giving birth, and maybe the signs are discussed more, so you can keep an eye on. And not even just you. I feel like our spouses, our significant others, they need to be educated in it too, because they need to know the signs.
What we're going through and why we're going through it, and how they can
help.
Yes.
Or how they can pick up on things that might be different and know how to have the conversation. Because in our head, things might not be totally different, you know? It's different, but it's maybe not looking as bad as it does on the outside.
Or we just think that they need to just know. Like,
or that.
We want them to read our minds and, like, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you helping? Why didn't you do this instead of that? Like, you know, just simple things like putting them to bed, feeding them. Like, we're like, why couldn't you just do it? Why couldn't you do it the same way as me?
No, really. And I also think men don't understand this. They call it the fourth trimester.
Yeah.
The shift of your identity and your body. Like, I know, Courtney, you too, our hair's falling out.
Oh my God.
Like, I have a pouch in my belly that I've never had before. I have acne that I never had before being pregnant. Like, all of these things, and you're trying to love yourself, and
you don't recognize yourself.
Right. You're like looking in the mirror, you're like, who is this person?
Who am I mentally? Who am I physically? It is,
yes.
You evolve after having a baby. No matter what. You're
and
not
I keep seeing these TikToks.
Yeah. Oh God.
I keep seeing these TikToks, and it has the like sound from Inside Out. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Sing it for us.
It's not a song. It's like when he's like, go something do the world for me. It's basically like he can't come out of this like pit that he's in, and she gets out of it, and he's just saying like, you know, go, keep going and do your best. Look, why am I so emotional?
It's okay.
But it's saying, look, eventually you'll be able to look back and see yourself, you know, in the nursery crying in the middle of the night, and you're going to be in a better place to be like, you're going to make it.
Making me emotional.
Yeah. Well,
right?
That's from a kids movie? Jeez.
Inside Out is so good. See.
Oh, it's such
so for coming from me, I see that because I've gone through this before, and like my postpartum is not the same as your guys's in a way that I've been through it before, and I don't know. I just knew what to expect a little bit more. Not that like my baby definitely sleeps better than your guys's, but
yeah, Izzy's barely in the chat.
I'm
3 a.m. Okay.
Listen,
I like poke my head and I'm like, yeah, I'm going back to sleep.
Anytime of night somebody messages the chat, I'm always there to answer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm your person. I got anybody that's up.
Katie, I can't wait for the day that you're not. Your little head is not on the Snap.
No,
chat.
I know. That's how it is. I mean, I will either get a stretch of sleep from like 8 to 1 or about like 11 to 7. I don't know how long those hours are, but because she didn't go to sleep till like way later last night. So she slept till about 6 or 7, and she would have slept longer if I wasn't leaking all over the bed, because my boobs were like, what's going on? Like the baby's baby's usually latched right now, and she's nowhere to be found.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Is she ready?
It was like a waterfall. So I had to bring her into bed with me. But I mean, after I had Basil, it was the same thing. I didn't recognize myself. In my opinion, it was like the worst I've ever looked. It was the worst I ever felt. I had no idea who I was. I mean, it took me a long time to get out of that spot. I mean, I went through a lot.
How long are we talking?
Right.
I told you my prime is like when she was 2 or 3 years old. So I was single, but
okay, we'll keep that in mind.
It definitely, after the first year, you know, you go back to normal. Like,
I feel like the first year has to be the hardest, because there are so many changes, just like we talked about postpartum, I feel like postpartum is always thought of as those first couple weeks after the baby's born. We have to put it in for the whole year.
No, it has to be 12 months.
Yes, postpartum, because the baby is changing so much. So you figure something out 1 month, and they say, haha, how about this?
Yeah.
And they change it all up on you.
Uh-huh. So I'm
you feel like you made it through. You're like, oh man, I didn't have the bad symptoms I thought I was going to. And all of a sudden it's like, bam, just kidding. Like, I got to go back to work and now I can't manage all this and I'm going to flip out. And society, this is a message to anybody listening who knows new moms. Stop invalidating people's experiences. Like, if somebody says to you their baby isn't sleeping, do not say to them, yeah, that's what it is. Or, oh, I remember that. Or, what did you think was going to happen? Like,
the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah, don't say that to me. Like,
just burp your baby.
And me and my sister-in-law had this exact same conversation because she had 3 kids, like, back to back to back pretty much. And she said, like, her whole first few years was a blur to her. And she always would have people tell her, you know, enjoy it now. You're going to miss this when it's gone. And she said that would make her feel like a worse mom.
Right.
Like, why am I not enjoying this? Why am I not, you know, loving every second of holding my baby? Yeah, and it makes you feel like something's wrong with you because you're not just this overwhelming feeling of joy all the time. And I think people get out of it and they forget. And they get older and then they tell young people, well, my kids are grown and I miss them. Yeah, but you forget the struggle that it was.
Well, it's like the same thing with birth, with labor. You eventually forget it enough to do it again. So, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and I just, like, that's my message. And I just hope that people just don't invalidate it. And if you don't want to validate somebody's feelings, don't ask me how I'm doing.
Right.
If you ask me how I'm doing and I say, oh, not really great, and you don't want to hear that, then don't ask me. Like, I don't need you to make me feel worse about how I'm feeling.
Yeah, and I think, too, don't just toss it around like it's not a very fragile thing, postpartum.
Yeah. Right.
Don't just throw it out there like, oh, it could be that. That's probably what you're going through. Like, if you think that is it, then you need to be reaching out and doing something to help, because just saying, oh, that's probably postpartum. What does that solve for anybody?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
No.
Okay. And thank you for diagnosing me. I don't know.
And society's just so hard on moms. Like, it really is. And even women that are older are just as bad as anybody else. It's just they forget. Like, visiting baby, talking about not knowing yourself. You come home from the hospital, they tell you, you know, you might have blood clots the size of golf balls. I'm like, what? Golf balls? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
just come back if you have a big blood clot. Like, because what do you mean? What do I say?
Like, should I send you a picture?
Mine literally said to me, it's normal to have golf ball sized blood clots. I'm like, golf ball, like, that big.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't seem normal.
I'm like,
that does not.
Right. I'm like, okay. And you're wearing diapers.
Bigger than your baby's. Okay.
Yeah. And your stitches are itchy.
Oh my God. Can we discuss this? Like, nobody tells you how itchy it is. Okay.
No. And then I was so itchy. And then I said to Jacob, I'm like, something else is wrong. And he's like, well, babe, you just birthed a human. I'm like, no, something else. And I had a UTI like 3 days after from having a catheter.
What?
No. So then I had to march my diaper wearing butt to my own doctor to pee in a cup and get an antibiotic, and then the antibiotic was messing with Dale's stomach even more. Like, it was just this and then you go 2 days after, they want you to take your baby to the doctor.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I can't even pee yet. Like, and it's just nothing. And then nobody checks on you till week 6.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No one checks on mom, but we need baby. We need the baby to come to the doctor.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I talked about this with my experience of getting cash to the doctor, how rude the one doctor's office was. So our plan was to use this one doctor, and nobody really tells you that you need to have this set up for...
Oh, yeah, you did talk about this.
Did I talk about it on...
Just not on here to us.
Nobody tells you that you need to have... quote unquote, you need to have your doctor for the baby set up before you
your appointment.
Before you even leave the hospital.
Yeah.
So I called the doctor we wanted to use. He was on vacation, and then I end up going into labor. So I'm I am having contractions, and all the questions that they're asking you when you first get there, like, who's the baby's doctor? I'm like, I don't know. This is who we want to use. I think just throw a name out there. And I remember after having Cash and, in the postpartum recovery suite or whatever.
You didn't remember to call the doctor? What
no,
the heck? In that
right,
moment, you didn't remember?
No, so they took the name that I said, and he shows up in our room.
Yeah.
He's like, hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so, your pediatrician. I'm like, what? Is this a coincidence? How did you know to come here? And he's like, they told me. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So everything was great. He checked him. We really liked him. Didn't think to check that he accepts our insurance. So he says, oh, mind you, I had Cash on June 28th. 4th of July was the next week. So we leave the hospital on Thursday. The doctor that we were going to use, the pediatrician, said, we'll see you on, what day was 4th of July? Friday? Monday?
I was in the hospital.
I think it was a Monday.
Yeah, my life was a blur at that moment.
And it was a Monday. And he's like, we'll see you Monday. And I was like, cool. And then I find out that he does not accept our insurance. So I'm like, well, crap, I need to figure out a new doctor. So I'm calling around, and I talked to this one lady at this doctor's office, and she's like...
At this point, you're home too, right?
Oh, I'm home, yep.
Yeah.
It's like day one up, because we got sent home Thursday afternoon, so this was Friday.
Okay.
So then we have the weekend, and then Monday is 4th of July.
Yeah.
So that's 3 days that doctor's offices are closed. And she's hounding me. She's like, so when did you get discharged? I'm like, Thursday afternoon. And she said, and you don't have a doctor appointment set up for the baby? I'm like, I tried. The doctor that we chose did not. And she was making me feel as if I were a terrible mother because I didn't have a doctor's appointment set up for him. I was like, we just left the hospital.
We all need to start sticking up. You should have said to her, you know what? I have golf-ball-sized blood clots coming out of me.
I know, right? I called Craig. I called Craig right after that phone call and was just pouring tears. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, she was so mean. I was like, I'm a bad mom.
Fragile.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like mother. Really shitty on her end because it's like
I'm not using that doctor.
Yeah, you just had a baby. Like, oh, you know what, honey? Usually you're supposed to schedule your appointment while you're still in the hospital. You're obviously a first-time mom.
No worries.
Let me get you an appointment. Like, what's the point of shaming?
She just said, well, we can't get you until Tuesday.
Okay.
Because the holiday, and that's where she left.
Which was the day after?
No, this was Friday.
But that
I was like, what do you want me to do? Like,
yeah.
I had my baby around a holiday. What do you want me to do?
Like, I'm sorry.
Well, that's why the doctor that told me hold him up for 2 hours. Like, I go to the same practice, but I told them, like, don't ever put me in her room again. Like, don't invalidate what I'm going through. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing with that. Like, don't treat me like I'm stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm figuring this out on my own. Have some compassion.
Yeah.
Like,
on no sleep.
Yeah.
On no sleep. Yeah. Like, again, bleeding blood clots. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I don't get that the way we treat women. Like, we're just supposed to be able to go back, like, and then 12 weeks, just take your baby to daycare and go to work and act like everything's fine and you didn't just, birth a human 3 months ago.
12 weeks is not a long time. I feel like we're 4.5 months in, and I feel like has not been a lot of. That's not a lot of time.
Well, you said the other day that I keep thinking about, our babies have not been out of us for as long as that they were in us. Mm-hmm. That is so important to remember, and I try to remind myself that whenever I'm trying to be super mom, do this, take him out of the house, take her to daycare. It's like, she's only 4 months old, She's almost 5 months old. That's still, like...
Not a lot of time.
She should still be attached to me I have been dealing with a lot. My family, put your baby down. You're allowed to put your baby down. You're allowed to put your baby down to take a nap. I don't want to put my baby down. If I want to sit on this chair for 2 hours and rock my baby, I will. Like, I know I'm allowed to put her down, but...
She doesn't want me to put her down.
No.
She wants her mom, because guess what? She's been with me for the past...
She wants to lay on my skin and go to sleep. And that's where she sleeps best. And I'm okay with that right now. I don't care if I have to pee. I don't care if I'm thirsty or I'm hungry or my butt hurts. Like, that's like my favorite thing to do is just sit there with my baby. And it irritates me when people tell me to put my baby down because, I mean, obviously sometimes, I have to, but I don't want to.
Or the
Well,
whole
and
they need to work on self-soothing and sleeping on their own. Well, they don't know how to do that yet. They have, for the past how many months, they have gone to sleep with the comfort of their mom and hearing their mom's heartbeat. You know, they don't. I think a lot of research shows that most babies don't even get onto a sleep cycle until month 5 at the earliest.
Well, that's coming up for you, Court.
I know. I'm not hanging on any hope.
No, it's true, and I think that's just like toxic community going on right now with sleep and babies. Like, and I truly believe. I mean, look at our friend group. There are babies who, since they came home from the hospital, have slept through the night. I mean, and Sadie. Sadie as well is a really good sleeper.
Right. Sadie is a good sleeper, yeah.
Yeah,
Shout-outs.
After going through this, like, I believe it's totally a demeanor thing. Like, some babies are just
good sleepers,
and some are just not. And one thing I've noticed is, like, I know that Cash and Dale are both, like, super alert and strong, and they're learning so much. Like, I feel like they're so, like, active all the time. Yeah. And I think that plays a huge role. Like, they're just, like, 4 a.m., Dale's like, ooh, wow. Like if you have one little speck of light coming from anything, he's like, oh, wow, a ceiling fan. Oh, wow, I need to learn something. And it's just like, and then you're up for an hour and a half till it's time to go back to sleep again. So I think that just plays a huge role in it. And I think moms feel like, I'm doing something wrong. My baby can't self-soothe. I need to have them do this. And it's like, not all babies are capable of doing that. And like 5 months is when they say to sleep train and let your baby cry it out and things. And really, again, they're not even out of us for as long as they're in us. And I'm not shaming anybody who's done that. If it's worked for you, that's great.
Correct. You're
right.
But
studies show that, like, babies fall asleep doing that because they just feel like, oh, well, nobody's going to come. Like, that's why they
so
fall asleep.
heartbreaking.
Like, abandonment.
Yeah, no,
it is. But moms don't know that. They're just like, oh, it worked.
I've heard everybody says it. It's like the old tale.
Yeah.
Cry it out.
It's an attachment. This is such an important time for their attachment and them learning that, like, if I cry,
support.
Yeah. If I cry, my mom's going to be there for me. Like, that's what they're learning right now. Or if I cry, somebody's going to come pick me up and help me. And I try in the middle of the night when I'm, like, losing my mind. I try to just repeat the mantra, like, he's not giving me a hard time. He's having a hard time. Like, he does not know that it's 3 a.m. and I have to work tomorrow and I'm getting observed and this is happening. He has no idea. Like, all he knows is that he's
something's
awake
wrong
and hungry.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that's hard too, is that we don't know what is going on.
Yeah.
They could be having a belly ache.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Or are they cold? Like, am I dressing
I found that tag in her armpit. She was so fussy that night, and I was like, she would fall asleep, and I put her down. It was immediately crying. It was so out of character for her. Change her PJs the next day. There's a tag in her armpit. I was like, and next day she was fine. I was like, I bet that was bothering her all night long.
Tickling her.
Imagine, it's stabbing you in the armpit. You can't tell your mom.
Imagine your butt is itchy and you can't itch it. Okay.
And they're just shoving a pacifier in your mouth.
And to touch, I'm like looping back, but I just looked it up to like remind myself. There are only 7 countries in the entire world that do not have provided paid time off for parents.
Katie, what country is on that list of 7?
The greatest country in the entire world.
Listen to the other ones. This makes it so much worse. Listen to the other ones. Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
And a few island countries in the Pacific Ocean. The Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, and Tonga.
Why?
What even is that?
But like, why?
We're in that group?
Do they even have corporate businesses there? Like,
we're literally. Those are the other countries that don't have paid time off. How sick is that? Like, that's what happens when a country's run by men, but that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother.
I need to visit your husband's podcast.
Yeah.
That's a Craig podcast.
I would love to debate Craig on that podcast.
Call your own foul. I'm going to plug it in there for them because they gave us a shout out.
Aw. I wouldn't know. I don't listen.
It gets pretty
I doubt they have a lot of moms listening, though, so I don't know if we're going to get much.
You're right. They listen to a couple. But no, that is so true. And I feel, we have a couple different scenarios in our mom group with the paternity leave as well. I know.
No, and I it's a huge look at, and I'm gonna plug Sam. We're all jealous of her life right now.
Sam, we freaking love you, man.
Sam, we love you. We love that you're thriving. Like I live for it.
We live for it.
We need that in our group.
But here's what I think a huge difference is. Her husband's job is a UK based company, and he had 12 weeks paternity leave?
16, I think.
Yeah, it was
16?
something insane.
Yeah, because they're splitting it up 2 months each.
Right. So she had that first 2 months of just explicit help.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And not only just help, but that bond. And
yes.
And now her husband knows. I feel like we should let Sam come on and talk about it too.
Yeah.
We're talking about her life.
He knows how to handle Mac a lot more, I feel like, because he had those first couple months to figure it out, because that's what we all did as moms. We just he's crying, figure it out. How do you get him to stop? And I think a lot of our significant others might have missed that opportunity to really figure it out at the beginning. So then they never got that, like, connection, I guess. I don't know.
I was just explaining this to a friend last night about Sam and her husband. And
we just talk about Sam all the time.
Listen, because here's, like, the thing. It is goals for us because, he got to stay home, but there's just something else that it's Ryan, right, that brings to the table. You know, we've all commented whenever Sam's sending us her nightly, vlogs, he is always in the room with Mac. He's always on the floor with Mac.
She's pumping.
He's just so involved in a way that I feel like none of us really see in our own lives, that makes us jealous that, she's pumping. Their little nighttime routine is he gives Mac a bottle. He's on the floor with him, reading him a book. He's always in the room. He's always around, and he's always engaged.
Well, we don't want to say always.
Yeah,
from what we
see.
You're right. We don't know her life.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. From what we see, he's just very engaged, and that's just like...
It's so important.
Yes. I think it's so important for the bonding, and that's what... The calming down the crying, I feel like that's kind of what I'm struggling with is... I need you to, I need more help you calming the baby down on your own.
You have to figure it out.
Yes, because I can't do it all the time. And that's like kind of where my postpartum rage comes from, is that
PPR.
I have another daughter to take care of, and she needs me a lot, and I can't give it all to her because I'm stretched too thin. I'm in both directions. So I need someone to pick up the slack on the other end, so I can give that attention to my other daughter. It's hard when they can't. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Katie.
And now, I was just going to say, now that, like, Dale's getting older, I think Jacob's learning more, but I do think those beginning stages, it was like, well, you're home on maternity leave, and, he came up from work and was tired, and I let things slide, like I said, and the baby was just wanted me, and I think Jacob only having 3 days off or something stupid like that was ridiculous. I mean, how is anybody going to bond with anybody seeing them for 2 hours at night? So I think we need to get some, like, government people listening to this. Something's got to change, because it's insanity that we, I had to take leave without pay on some days, and people had to donate leave to me. I'm a public school teacher.
Yeah.
I teach in a school with majority women, and none of us get maternity leave.
Yep. Right.
So it's just...
And you have for a while, too. It's not like it's a new job for you, You've been there for, half a decade, so...
6 years, yeah.
Yep.
Same county.
Why did you say that? Now I feel so old.
Well, when she said that at first, I was like, there's no way we've been out of high school for 6 years.
10.
10, yep. 2023 will be 10-year anniversary.
Who's doing the reunion? We're ready. We got our babies ready. Like, we already got half the class together. We're ready.
Seriously. I'll be back in PA by then. We're going to work on it.
Yeah.
But I think it's, like, just so important that us moms give ourselves grace, and that you find, like, reach out to us. Even if our group's too full, there's other new moms reaching out to us we can connect you with. Like, find somebody that's in a similar stage of life as you. Because having those people to just say, no, it's okay to feel that, and make you feel not alone. Yeah, and make you feel not alone. Because if you're doing this alone, God, I don't know that I would have made it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. It really is. And you know it's going to be hard, but like you're not going to get sleep.
You hear that it is. You hear it's not easy, right? But you don't know how hard it's going to be. Same with
like you see TikToks and like moms, they're like morning routine, and they like get their whole house clean. I'm
I can't.
What?
And it's not even like breakfast
routine,
time.
You have a nanny? How are you?
Right. Like my morning routine is literally me getting myself dressed and then Dale puking on me, so I have to change again to go to work, and nothing fits me, and then I'm crying because nothing fits me, and then like it's chaos. It's not like, good morning, beautiful son. This
but
is
I think
that's like
it's like, screw you, son, you're up again. What? No, but I think a lot of that too is just social media in general is so toxic, because who's going to go out there really and show you the bad side of their life? Nobody. It's always going to be
we will.
Well, yeah. Here we are. But that's a lot of it too that plays into your mental state, and even postpartum too, is you're seeing these other moms do it, and you're like, should I be doing that? How are you doing that? And I can't figure it out. Like,
I think that's what Katie needs to start doing, is doing a day in Dale's life, and just, every time you cry and every time he pukes, just a whole TikTok of that.
I mean, that's definitely a whole episode too, because like I even was talking about like being a first time mom and people pushing your concerns aside. Like, it took me a really long time just to get people to listen to me, like, and be able to get into a specialist and, figure out it was allergies and go through all of this. And like I said, the people would literally say to me, "Are you holding up and burping him?" Like, I know I'm a first time mom, but I
can't imagine that, because I don't even think we really even realized how bad it was until you came home. And even that
projectile puking on the pool, and that wasn't even a bad day.
That was like kind of a good spot.
That was like a good day. Yeah. But you were kind of your mom at the time, was watching him, and every time you're like, "Do you see this? Like, do you see what I deal with?" Like, and it's every time. Like, you have to think, anybody that has a new baby, how many times are you feeding your baby a day? And it's like, think of the worst time your baby's ever thrown up, and that's just Dale constantly.
Well, even when Kat...
Usually 4 to 8 times every time he eats a projectile.
I can't. Yeah. I hate to say this, but, like, Cash... he doesn't spit up. So, but when he does randomly...
I love that for you. I love that for you.
It's the one thing I'm hanging on to, okay? The few times that he does, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Same.
And then immediately I think of him like, how is Katie do this?
We humble ourselves real quick.
Quick.
No,
I
feel
Taylor
that.
The other night was like, Ariella threw up all over me. I had to shower, and I was like, down the cleavage is the worst. And she's like, yeah, that's what it was. I'm like, yep.
Been there.
All the time. And it never fails. Like, right after I get out of the shower feeling good, never fails to just go all over me. And I'm like, you know what? This is life now.
Yeah.
But it's so hard, right? Because the part of you, and I think we talked about this, is wishing for this time to pass. You're just wishing, we just get over this, get through this period of time that he's puking, or this period of time that they're not sleeping, or that they're teething. Can we just get through this? And that's how time goes by in the blink of an eye. So it's so hard to be in that space where you are wanting the next step, but also not wanting to wish time away. It's such a weird...
That's a constant thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, constant. Because I'm like, I am enjoying, and like I said, that's the wave of emotions. Like, this morning, he's like smiling at me, and I'm like, so happy, and I'm like, 2 hours ago, I wanted to die. Like
you wanted to die last night.
Yeah.
Like, last night.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Like, and then, when he wakes up, you're like, this is great. Like, everything's fine. And it's just like those wave of emotions you're just not ready for.
Nope.
Yeah. And
the hormones too are just...
Oh yeah, my first postpartum period, I think I cried for like 7 days straight.
Don't tell me
about
that.
everything. I cried in front of my kids at school over nothing.
Oh.
Like my kids were literally like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good." Like, I don't know why.
Our teacher's different now.
Oh yeah, like it is, and it's just this constant hormones and then you have those thoughts of, I want this stage to be over, and then you feel guilt because of it. And I'm battling with insurance right now because they want to put him on a stronger reflux medicine, because the one that they're on now just isn't doing anything, and insurance won't cover it because it's like a specialized medicine. and they don't think he needs it. And it's like, how are you going to say that when this is my life?
What do you have to like
And-
prove to them that he needs it?
Right, like this is we're
Do they
getting
want them to throw up?
I thought that's what the doctor was for,
they want-
right?
Do they want to babysit him for a couple hours?
Yeah.
And they can let me know what they think.
Yeah.
Like if it's working.
That should
So
be the case.
it's a constant battle, and that's why I really want to do an episode just on him, and because he has torticollis too, and they're telling me I need to go to, like, it's just there's always something with him, always.
Yeah.
And I know other moms are out there too, kind of feeling the same thing of like, am I going to get out of this? And you know, your headspace does get better. Mine's definitely gotten better. I went to Target yesterday and he didn't throw up. He stayed in his car seat and was good. So there are, you know, good times. And
See, but you had a really
yeah.
great day yesterday, which we were also happy for you. But then in
Yeah.
turn, you didn't have a great
right,
night.
that's what I'm talking about. Those waves, and I
up
thought
and
it
down.
was going to be a good night
Yeah.
because I'm like, he didn't throw up all his food because usually he wakes up at night to eat,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's because he doesn't get enough in the daytime because he's puking it up. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna lay him down. He's gonna sleep good tonight. No.
The other
Nah.
thing too, and I don't know that it's helping me as much, almost 5, but there was a point in time where I remember telling you all that I just accepted the fact that I'm not going to sleep through the night,
Yeah.
and that helped me a lot too, just like going to bed knowing I'm going to wake up at
Yeah.
some point
Mhm.
helped me a lot. Now, you know, I don't know.
It's catching up again.
Yeah.
What?
It does.
It's like,
I
how
think
are we
that's what
still?
it is.
And then when I think about it, I'm thinking I'm almost 5 months of not having a full night of sleep.
Yeah.
When I used to be
I
an
don't-
8-hour a night kind of gal, okay?
Uh-huh.
I don't think I've gotten 4 hours straight. Like, I don't think I've actually gotten 3 of not waking up at all. Like, I've at least woken up.
And that
To help
alone,
Jacob get
without the
ready.
hormones and postpartum, will make you go insane. So,
What time of night do you guys bring your babies into bed with you?
like 4 a.m. probably.
What about you,
It depends.
Katie?
It
I
depends.
usually make it to about 2.
2? Okay.
Yeah. Because by that point,
It
I
depends
usually
on how
lay
many
him down.
times he got up. Yeah.
Yeah, he's ready for bed usually around 7:30. And then he usually does do like a 2-hour stretch till 9:30.
Yeah.
And then he's up at like 11, and then he's up at 12, and then he's up at 12:45. And
See,
then by like 2
12 is
a.m.,
like my
I'm
cutoff. If I'll put her
Yeah.
to bed like 4 or 5 times, but once it hits midnight, because you know once they get
You're
into bed,
done.
they're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
They're asleep. That's,
And I guess I'm learning how to get comfortable with him in my bed, which, like, now that he's older, I don't worry. And anybody out there who's listening that's, like, against bed sharing, don't come at us. Like,
Yeah.
listen,
That's
I
another
never
episode
thought,
too that we
I
do.
never, ever thought I would bring my baby into my bed. I was so against it. I was against even the bassinet next to my bed because I wanted to get sleep. Listen. Listen.
let's all laugh.
Especially if you do not have children, do not live in a place of judgment.
Yeah.
Like, do not, because it will come back at you. And not that I never judged anybody that did it. I just personally myself said I never would.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm learning, like, how to get comfortable with him in there. He's literally like a toddler. Like, if I move away from him, he, like, scoots over to be against me. I'm like, Dale, like, I just need
And then
need
you're
sleep.
not going to get a good solid sleep because subconsciously you know your baby's next to you, so you're
Right.
always like, I don't really want to fall asleep too hard.
You can't allow yourself to go into a deep sleep,
Right.
let alone
Right.
snore.
Yeah.
Shout out to
That
you,
must be-
to you
Shout out
dads
to the
out there.
all the spouses.
shout out to the snorers out there.
AKA dads, we're all glaring at you.
The causers of postpartum rage.
The snoring alone will make a new mom snap.
Oh my god, I saw that one TikTok of the girl that's like in the middle of the night, she was like flipping off her spouse like, while he was sleeping. I'm like, that's me. She was like aggressively doing it. I'm like,
We
that's
should all
me.
start
That's-
that.
See,
That's
it
me.
works
Do the
out
snap.
on my end because Dylan sleeps on the couch, and we do that. It's like a pro for both of us because he gets sleep because he has to get up at 4 a.m. to go to work.
Yeah, and he's gone a long day.
Yeah, he's gone all day. I mean, just like, Jacob, but whenever, like, Cora will sleep in her little pack and play till at least 12 or 1, and then she comes into bed and sleeps with me till like 6, and we have the whole bed, and that's like it's much easier 'cause, we do night nursing, so my arms have to be like stretched out, and
You have to have all the pillows.
Yeah,
Every
it's like a whole
But do you
thing.
have like a constant neck kink? Because I can't get rid of the neck kink. I can't find the right pillow. Last night I was like slamming pillows down because I kept trying different ones and none of them were the right
and let me guess,
or
Jacob
height.
was still asleep.
I sleep on a pretty flat pillow that's like, I don't know, comfy, and then I put pillows on each side of the bed, and I barrel roll her back and forth all night.
Between the one pillow and
two
the one
under
side?
No, between the one boob, like the boobs. Like,
right, but like you have a pillow on each side.
Yeah.
To kind of like prop her.
No, I don't prop her.
Oh.
No, she's...
No, like on your arm, but like you have it like propped up. Oh, no.
No, my pillow, or my arm goes under the pillow, and she like... And my bed's like soft, so she kind of... We're really connected.
It's cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, she was so cold this morning.
Dale's connected to me for sure.
Yeah.
I think I've never been a good sleeper, so that's part of my problem.
I need to be the right pitch dark, no noises, right temperature.
Yeah.
And I'm a belly
We're
sleeper.
like babies.
Same.
I have to sleep on my... Yeah, we're like babies. I have to sleep on my stomach, just like Cash. So when I have him sleeping on me and I'm sleeping on my back... No,
it's not comfortable.
It's not.
Yeah.
I was like...
I went out and bought a $7,000 bed because I thought it would help me sleep better.
So yeah, but sometimes you can recline it. I like that.
I would have wanted that for like right after, like coming home from the hospital. That'd have been clutch.
And being pregnant, it's like so hard to get out of bed.
I didn't even think about that. You just are like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's always something. It's always something in motherhood. And there are, I don't want to say easy babies, and I believe there are high need babies. That's kind of what I call Dale. I don't want to say a hard baby, but he's a high need baby.
That's definitely true.
And that's okay. Like, and I'm battling with myself right now. Like, I always wanted multiple kids, and I am in a stage right now where I'm like, I don't know if I could do it again. And hopefully that changes.
It will.
But
I think it will.
Right now, I'm like in the thick of it, and I'm like, I don't know.
After Basil, I definitely I never wanted any more kids. Like, I was set. I was like, I'm not having another kid. Because it was that bad. In my head, it was that bad. She wasn't a high needs baby, but like, it was
what you were going
what I was feeling was that bad. And I'm here to tell you, like, it's so different.
I feel like we'll forget once.
Yes.
They're starting to walk and be more independent and not needing us as much. I feel like that's when that happens.
That's a whole nother stage, though. Like the crawling.
Yeah. Everything just brings a new challenge, and that's it. And I think being type A or being a control person, like that all goes out the window. There's nothing in motherhood that's in your control. Like literally nothing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's. And you saying she wasn't a high needs baby, like everybody's struggle is important. That's what I said to you yesterday. Like there's no comparison, or there shouldn't be, in motherhood, because every single person can handle or is dealing with different battles.
Right. And
all of them are important. So
that's why when I told Sam that I wanted her life and was jealous, and then I had to be like, I know you have your own struggles too. I'm not saying
everybody does. Yeah, we're just teasing her and her. Yeah, we all experience those different things, and they're all important. And again, if people are not validating you, find new people. Like that's the bottom line of it. Yeah, if people aren't supporting you in your struggle, or they're brushing it aside, like those aren't your people, and you need to find new. I mean, let's shout out my mother-in-law right now, because she tried calling me, and I texted her and said, I'm recording my podcast, and she messaged me and said, no worries, I left you a voicemail. I just wanted to tell you how amazing of a mom you are.
Stop.
Like those are your people.
Yes.
Yes.
The people that don't need to ask questions, like they just know. They know the right thing to say. Mm-hmm. They don't, push your buttons. Those are the right people. They just, they leave a little sprinkle of love and care, and they move on. Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need to check the interest of making a Facebook page of new moms. That listen to our podcast, so that we can share.
That too, Katie?
I can.
It's a lot of social media to keep up with. We don't have a marketing department.
We don't, and we're all unpaid.
We're all
unpaid.
Yeah.
Did we mention we don't have extra time to do things?
Yeah. I left both my kids at home for this, so.
But also,
this is our escape, though.
Yeah.
And this is our escape.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's very important to let either new moms, current moms to be know that postpartum is a journey. It's not going to be just something you look out for in those first couple weeks, and it's going to constantly be changing. And yeah, find a circle, because you can't and you shouldn't do it alone. You should not do it alone, because it feels
society
isolating
makes you
enough.
feel like you should. Yeah. And
correct.
society puts that on moms and makes you feel like you're not a good mom if your house isn't clean, or you're not a good mom if, A, B, C, and D. And the other day I was wearing comfy clothes to work, I will not lie, and my boss is like super strict about clothes. She's like nuts about it. And I met my friend to get my nails done, which was the best thing I've done in a while. And she's like, you wore that to work? Because she knows my boss. Like, she wasn't judging me. She was just saying you got away with it. And I looked at her, I said, listen, she's lucky I show up to work every day.
Yeah.
And if she says something about what I'm wearing, that's what I'm going to say to her. You're lucky
Because your kids would care, right? They would.
Yeah,
they would really.
they could care less. Right. That's what I'm saying. And I'm on the floor with them. I'm going to wear comfy clothes. That's the bottom line.
Good
and
for
also,
you.
nothing fits me, and I'm not spending money on new clothes right now. So
No, we only spend money on clothes our kids are going to wear 3 times.
absolutely. That's the only
way I'm
thing.
spending my money is on a 2-time outfit.
Like, why will I spend $20 on like a hoodie for Dale, but if I see one for me, I'm like $20? No
Yikes.
way.
Like, keep it forever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, wear it till I'm 47.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear it for 3 months. Like, lordy.
Honestly.
That's because our priorities shift, but
Yeah.
it's
True. And now it's Christmas time, so I feel guilty like going out and buying things for myself.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I feel like I could be buying presents.
Yeah.
well, I got my nails done, and I'm doing one self-care thing a month.
Absolutely.
So that's
like
my
that.
new...
Change it to once a week.
I might.
You
I'm going to
should.
get my first spray tan, Izzy, so I'm taking after
I'm
you.
so excited for you.
When I come home for Christmas.
Yeah, I'll take you.
Great. I'll be the pastiest one.
Well, my mom's best friends are at the tanning salon down the road from my house, and
Perfect.
they do them there. So.
Oh, you're gonna feel so good. We're gonna look so good for.
Yeah.
You're gonna get one too, Courtney.
Honestly,
We're
I was
all
looking
gonna
back
have
at my wedding
spray
pictures,
tans.
and I had a spray tan
Yeah.
on my pictures.
I'm gonna
like,
take
wow,
you.
I look cute.
We're gonna go right now after this.
Oh yeah, Izzy's giving me a makeover, so. I'm
Oh
really
yeah,
excited.
I already forgot.
What?
I will be. Yep.
Okay.
We're gonna do Courtney's hair. We're gonna put her lashes on.
You should post a picture of her on our social media page.
Yeah.
And let everybody know.
Should we drop like
But-
any questions on our Instagram that people want to hear about?
Like ask questions
Yeah.
too. Yeah, we can. We've been a little MIA, like we talked about.
It's hard to get together to do this.
Yeah, and on top of, Cash and I are finally pretty much better.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, don't start jinxing that.
I know.
Don't start jinxing
I know. I
it.
can't do it again, honestly. So we're trying to keep this a more regular thing. So those of you who are still hanging in there on these episodes that are coming a little bit further apart than normal, thank you. And for those of you who left us, rude, come back. We're still here. Yeah, I think we'll need to be a little bit more interactive on the page. And as always, if you have topics you want us to discuss or questions, reach out on the Instagram page or does anybody email? I feel like nobody's going to email. We
No.
have an email, but
Yeah.
just DM us.
Send us your favorite postpartum products. I'll make a little story today. Send us whatever you
I'm trying to
got
think
you
of mine.
through.
I don't even.
Oh, yeah. 'cause
Mine's
you
the
just
Freedom
woke
on
up
Perry
and
bottle.
ran a marathon after you're all good to go. Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm like
golf ball size
I'm over
blood
here.
clots over here.
I'm over here with blood clots.
Yeah.
Golf ball size.
Okay, I
True.
think that's a good one.
Yeah.
It'll tie in with this episode, postpartum products, and maybe just
PPP.
words of encouragement. PPP.
Go get a spray tan, everybody. It will change your life.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.